I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL. Today, I have a very special guest, again, on my channel. Stephen, thank you for coming back.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Today, we're going to be sharing both our thoughts on the newest release from Thameen. It's called Peregrina. Stay tuned to FM. So Stephen, back on FRAG-MENTAL, I am honoured.
Yeah, no, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Well, you're welcome. And this time we're not in New York or Brooklyn, where we last shot. We are, where are we now?
We're in a much nicer location. We're actually in London today, and so you came to my hotel. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's it's a pleasure. I mean, you're only here for literally like a day, aren't you? So
yeah, I'm running around a little bit, but I knew I had to reach out to you, so thank you for making the trip.
You're welcome, and it was quite timely because yesterday I went to Harrods and I was introduced by the Thameen team to their latest fragrance called Peregrina.
Okay, nice.
So I wore it on my skin yesterday and they took me through like a consultation and explained about the history and the concepts of the fragrance. And then when you were in town, I thought it would be a great opportunity to break it down a little bit. It's kind of, I mean, I wore it throughout yesterday, so I've got a little more time with it than you have. So I guess it's more of a first impressions really, and it's just off strip.
Sure,
because we're not talking how it works off your skin anyway. Although I can mention a little bit about that. So Peregrina is first of all, Thameen is a brand you're familiar with because I've seen you've done some videos.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The team was kind enough to make a stop at Oswald in New York. And so they kind of gave me the guided tour, ran me through all of the fragrances, the concept of the brand, how they got started.
Yeah.
And so it's a really nice brand.
Yeah, and it's a British brand as well.
Yep.
And I love talking about all brands, but I love supporting British brands as well.
Yeah, it's nice to support the heritage.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think Thameen are doing some great fragrances. I smelled the whole range yesterday.
Right.
There's some real standout fragrances in their lineup. And so Peregrina is the latest. This was actually released just at the end of last year, Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay.
It's a very popular seller for them so far. I think certainly in 2020, this is the one in Harrods that they've sold most of.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for them, good.
So Peregrina is inspired, or this is in their treasures collection, so these are inspired by precious stones. And Peregrina is inspired by a famous pearl called La Peregrina, which is 500 years old. It's this big old pear-shaped pearl that was owned by the Spanish, and then it was gifted to Elizabeth Taylor, who apparently loved it.
Oh, wow.
and still owns it. So this is inspired by La Peregrina.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've pre-sprayed it. We're going to have a little chat about what we think about the fragrance. And this is, let me read the notes out to you. Top notes of this, we've got Damascus rose, lily of the valley, gardenia, jasmine. There's vanilla, amber, caramel, myrrh, ylang ylang in the heart.
Okay.
And then in the base, some white musk, amber and powder. And I think you'll probably agree, because we did have a little chat about this on camera, but the first thing you get is a lovely blast of a very natural smelling rose in the top.
So that's definitely the more prominent note, I think. And that rose from Damascus, it opens up very bright, kind of airy. It's not overly jammy, like some other roses have a tendency of being. And it's compounded by like a slight sweetness that I think might be coming from the vanilla or the amber or something like that, right?
Sure. And I would describe it as more of a pink powdery rose. Like you said, it's not a jammy rose. It's completely agree.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the fragrances that contain a prominent rose are the more red, bold, jammy rose.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I find this slightly more powdery rose more wearable, a little more masculine. So this is definitely up my street in terms of a rose-based fragrance.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, yeah. So a lot of people would have it in their heads that this is feminine because of the rose or the ylang ylang or any other florals, but there's something about this where I think it's muted enough that it can be pulled off comfortably by a guy, and it would kind of give like this elegant, understated feel to it.
And it's interesting because I was talking to Clemence, and this touched on something I've previously said in videos, that when a fragrance that is heavy on the florals is worn by a man, Clemence was saying that she finds that very masculine in itself, that man has the confidence to wear florals.
Oh,
so
wow,
the fact
that's
that
cool.
he has that confidence is an attractive masculine quality to her. So it kind of has that reverse effect, rather than it being very dark and typically masculine in its scent profile, because it maybe leans a little on the feminine. To her, that
Trying
is
to overcompensate.
exactly. Yeah.
Join the Scent Geeks every Monday as we podcast about all things fragrance. You'll find us anywhere you can usually find a podcast. Links are in the description below this video. See you there, geeks.
So I think the rose stays all the way through. We sprayed these maybe 20 minutes ago, so we're kind of part way into the dry down here. And I wore this on skin as well all day yesterday. And the rose does remain, although as it dries it comes a little more muted, and I think that vanilla just pushes through a little more from the base.
And the rose was listed as the top note, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh yeah.
It was like one of the first notes that you read.
Yeah.
But no, you can still smell it. It definitely lingers. It has good longevity.
Yeah.
I think that the vanilla will probably be the strongest sweet note that you're going to get from this, as an amber perfume. You would expect a little bit of labdanum, a little bit of benzoin. There's nothing about this that smells medicinal or overly resinous or anything like that. So I definitely get this really nice, subtly powdery vanilla.
Yeah. And there's a depth and a richness coming from it, probably partly due to the vanilla, but I think the myrrh in here, I always find just lends this beautiful smooth depth to a fragrance. Slightly, I always say it's like a slightly mysterious quality.
It might be that makes it a little masculine.
Yeah,
That's
possibly,
cool.
yeah. And I found
that's awesome.
that it does change, so it develops nicely. As it dries down, that rose becomes more muted, and it becomes kind of the myrrh and vanilla and amber.
Okay.
And there's some caramel in here as well, so it starts to go a little more gourmandish in the dry down, actually, due to that caramel and vanilla. Yeah. So it's a very pleasing scent. So off the strip, I think it stays rosier than it does when you're wearing it on the skin.
Sure.
I think it just really smooths out into a sweeter vanilla-y type fragrance, and it lasts really well. A lot of fragrances that have vanilla, like a heavier natural vanilla in there, they seem to last really well. So I got good longevity. It lasted me all day, so it was a solid 8 hours. And I feel like I only wore it on one small patch. It wasn't a full wearing. So in terms of projection, I felt like it was projecting nicely, but I would have to give it a full wearing over a few different occasions just to see how it works. But I think it's a versatile fragrance. I think it's a fragrance you could wear for any occasion and any time of the year, really.
Dressed up and dressed down?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think so too. There's nothing overly formal about it that I would only wear it with a suit and tie. I think that it's such a likable scent that no matter what time you wear it, you're going to get really positive attention from people. I really dig this release, and I think Thameen are doing some amazing things, so congratulations to them.
Yeah, it is. It's a great release. I think it's very unisex. I think it does, in the opening, lean a little more to the feminine, but I think that, as we discussed, that could be a positive thing for a guy to wear. And despite the fact that it's got heavier notes of amber, vanilla, and myrrh, I think it's light enough and elegant enough to wear in the summer as well.
Correct. Yeah.
I think maybe you'd go a little easier on the trigger. Maybe it would be a summer's evening, because maybe the sweeter notes could become a little too cloying if it was really high temperature. But generally, I think this is one that you can wear whenever you want, really. I think it'd make a really nice signature scent.
I totally agree.
Yeah, this is retailing, I believe, here in the UK, 145, so £145 for 50 ml, and this is an extracte concentration. So not really overly priced at all for a luxury
in comparison
niche
to other niche brands. I think this is actually quite affordably priced.
So I think we're agreed that we both enjoy this fragrance. It's one
I really do.
We'd both wear. I am really looking forward to giving this some more full wearings. I may come back and do a more in-depth review on how it performs and if my opinion on it has changed at all by wearing it fully and exploring it. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying this. Thank you to Thameen for the opportunity. They did gift me this bottle for the review. I should say that and be transparent. So I'm very thankful for that. So thank you, Thameen. Thank you for taking the time to chat to me in Harrods yesterday. They invited me in. They gave me a consultation on their brand, on their line, and specifically on this fragrance, so they dedicated some time, and I really enjoyed that. You can buy this online from their website.
Okay.
You can pick it up in the UK from either Selfridges in London or in Manchester, or you can pick it up from Harrods as well. So go in and give it a sniff. If you're near a Selfridges or Harrods here in London, then go and give it a sniff and see what you think, because I would recommend it.
That's great. I would too.
Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you, Stephen. It's I did not think that I would be talking about this fragrance with you, so it's a pleasure to be able to do that. It works out
Honestly,
well.
the pleasure is all mine.
Well, thank you very
so
much,
Chris.
and I hope I can have you back on FRAG-MENTAL sometime.
I would love that, of
All
course.
right. Cheers, Stephen. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this little unexpected team up. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, keep tuning into FM and keep smelling good.